Well, hey guys, it's my favorite time of year where the temperatures start dropping and you get to wear a hoodie with shorts. Man, I love the fall. So we're gonna start talking about some colder weather techniques, and in this two-part video series, we're gonna be talking with my buddy Rob, a well-known jerkbait specialist, on how to throw a jerkbait. Now guys, all of the stuff that we're talking about in this video is for the low country of South Carolina. We're talking Santee Cooper Lakes, Cooper River, but feel free to try anything that we're talking about on your home waters as well. In this video, we're gonna talk about rods, reels, line, jerkbaits themselves, colors, situations, things like that. So this video is gonna be a little bit more informational, and in part 2 of this video that we're actually gonna shoot tomorrow, wish us luck, and once that's shot, I'll put a link here in the video. But in part 2, we're actually gonna take everything that we talk about in this video, we're gonna hit the water and actually catch some fish using these jerkbaits. So to start this video off, I know you guys have seen Rob in a couple of videos, but I'm gonna let Rob introduce himself to you guys for just a second.
Hey guys, so this is...
That's it, that's how it is. And make sure you look there and not there.
Hey guys, so I'm Rob. I've been fishing in the low country pretty much all my life. Born and raised here in Charleston, South Carolina. Fish the river, the reservoirs, the lakes we have here. Really known for some good bass fishing. We got a Bassmasters Elite come down every year. We just had the Bassmasters Classic up in Lake Hartwell and the upstate. So the low country in South Carolina is actually a huge bass fishing country. It's big time around here at bass fishing. So yeah, we just wanted to talk some techniques. The transition is coming along. It's going from fall to winter. It's my favorite time to get out on the water and really catch some fish. So in today's video, we're going to get here with TJ. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
And yeah, hopefully we can get some information out to you guys, beginners or like myself, you know, some that's got a little bit of experience, and learn something else. I learn stuff new every day. So, you know, hopefully we can get some information out and help you guys out.
Where should we start? What if we started with like why is a jerkbait so effective? So the first question we're gonna ask Rob is, why is a jerkbait so efficient, and how is it transitioned from, really it used to be known as just a cold water bait, but now you're seeing people use a jerkbait year round?
Yeah, so I'm definitely one of those that always have a jerkbait tied onto the front of the deck of the boat, year round. Because in my opinion, jerkbait is one of two things. It's a shad, it's a match the hatch type bait, you know, that you can match what the bait or the bass are feeding on throughout the year. And then it's a reaction bait. During the summertime, you can still get bit off a jerkbait because, you know, it's a reaction bait. I use that as you know, it's hot, the water's warm, they're active, they're swimming around, and you can throw it in there, and they're always feeding through the year round. So you can get it off a reaction. But this time, guys, this is the prime time for jerkbaits, in my opinion. I love it. It's my favorite. And again, it's for those same two reasons, but it's just more active. The water temperature is dropping. You're getting in the mid 70s, you know, lower 70s, maybe upper 60s in some part of the world. But here in the low country, the water temperature is currently mid to lower 70s, and it's starting to get, you know, a little cooler. So this is the prime time for jerkbait. And the reason being is these temperatures, the bait balls, and you had the bait fish really starting to, the bass is really hunting them down, okay? Right. They're getting active. The water temperature is good. They're getting moved around. So they're really feeding on these bait balls, and they'll push these bait balls up. So jerkbait mimics a lot of your shad, your gizzard shad. Even if you're panfish, you can still get the colors to mimic your panfish to throw in your rivers and reservoirs and stuff like that. Cool. So, and you can control the bait. They suspend you. It's not a constant crank. You're, you know, zooming past through the bait ball, or you're zooming past the bass, and if they don't chase it, you're screwed out of luck. It's a fish. It's a bait that you can throw out, and you can fish it how you want to fish it, according to what the baits or the bass is reacting to. Do
you think more people using live scope has made people want to use jerkbaits more because they're able to see the fish react to the jerkbait coming through?
Absolutely, absolutely. Live scope is definitely a game changer. I've got it. I've caught fish off of it, actually watching them, you know, react to the jerkbait.
That's cool.
It really changed the way I fish it, because there's a lot of times I'll fish it and I'm like, I see the fish react based off of how I used to fish it without it, and then it made me slow down and fish it a different way. And it's also taught me how to fish it a different way during a different time period throughout the year, if that makes sense. So because like when it's hot, you can react it a lot faster, or you know, different tide changes in our rivers or whatever, you can change it. There's times I get bit when the jerkbait's suspended, and there's times I get bit as I'm working it faster. So it really puts the perspective of different scenarios, but you got to pay attention to it, you know, and pick up the obvious when you're in the scenario you're in.
Okay. And so tomorrow, Rob said, I'm going to be on the front of the boat a lot too, and all these different techniques you guys will actually be able to see firsthand from the chesty, from the big cam, how we're working the bait, and all the fish that we catch. All right, before we talk about rods, reels, and line, the stuff that people will kind of tone out, let's talk about the exciting stuff, and that's the actual jerk baits that we like to use. So let's talk about some of the brands, like your favorite brands to use, and some differences in those models.
Okay, so my favorite brand, I have a few, but the one I go to year round is the Mega Bass. It's the Mega Bass Vision 110.
Right.
They got a couple series out. It's the 110, 110 plus 1, 110 plus 2. So actually, and then they got 110 juniors.
The 110 juniors,
the smaller ones. So I'll show you guys here. There's a difference. Here's a difference between, this is a 110 junior. This is a 110, just a normal jerkbait 110. And that's the difference. Is basically the junior is obviously smaller. And all that does is, the only difference is really they created it for the match to hatch on your bait. So smaller bait fish, they're feeding on it, they're chasing smaller bait. You got the 110 junior. Normally, I throw the 110. I don't throw 110 juniors unless I'm throwing more shallower, and I'll explain that later. And then also, again, if they're busting on bait balls and I can see them on my live scope, and I got a big ball that they're chasing and feeding on, I can throw the 110 junior and get bit on it pretty quickly. So that's my go-to. These are my go-to baits.
So real quick, the Vision 110, 110 Junior, but they also have the plus 1 and the plus 2.
Correct.
The difference in the regular Vision 110 and the plus 1 means that it's a deeper diving jerkbait.
That's correct. Yes, the plus 1 and the plus 2 is obviously deeper diving, and you can see the bill here. So this is a 110 plus 1 Junior, and you got a 110 plus 1 regular, or 110 regular. So, and you can see right here that the bottom on the bill here is a lot longer, it's wider, it's much deeper than the regular junior, which gets down. And then also, here's a technique that a lot of people don't understand and know, but the plus 1s and the plus 2s, they sit suspended differently in the water.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the regular 110s, junior or the regular size, they'll sit like just a little angle. I don't know if you, just a little slight angle, not perfect straight, but a little. So the 110 plus 1s, they'll sit a little more down in the nose. And the 2s obviously sit more when they're suspended, which gives it a different look, a different angle, and a different action too.
And I've noticed that most brands, like the Mega Bass Vision 110 and the 110 plus 1, the Berkeley Stunners we'll talk about in a second, also have, you know, a plus 1. And then brands like 6 Sense have their Provoke, but then they have the Provoke DD, which means deep diving. So most jerk baits that you do buy will have a regular, you know, 5 to 9 foot variation, and then one that goes a little bit deeper.
Yes.
All right, so we got the Mega Bass. What's number 2 for you?
Man, number 2's got to be the Stunner.
The Stone Cold Stunner,
I do the damage with a Stunner, man. I got a couple Stunners here. This is a Stunner, and which is odd, or which is kind of funny, is you'll look at the Stunner and you see how the bill is on the front of it, but then you look at the Mega Bass and you see the different style front bill, but they both dive. Both of these bait are set to dive at 6 feet. That's where they suspend at. That's how deep they go, based off of your line and etc. But that's just the difference in these bait. Also, the sits more suspended, more straighter also.
Okay.
So this is again a different bait for a different technique, for a different, it gives a different action. It's a whole different dart, a different action of how you can work this bait. So this definitely catches a lot of fish. The stunner is definitely on my line also.
Yeah, you turned me on to the stunners.
Yeah. So if I'll get into it later, but the video that me and you did a while back when we did the tournament together, the first one that's what we were throwing, was a stunner.
And I lost mine to a gar.
Yes. But all those fish I caught came off of that stunner.
So I've got pretty much the same thing in my box. A couple more that I want to talk about is the new Shimano World Minnow. This guy has a little piece of metal, some kind of material in it, and I still got the rubber band on it. I haven't thrown it yet. We will be throwing it in the next video. But this little piece of material is always moving, so it's just providing that extra flash even when you're not working the bait, even when it's sitting still in the water column. It's still moving. People are saying that this is, you know, kind of the next revolution of jerk baits. I'm really excited to throw this one.
Yeah, I'm super excited to try that one out as well.
I got 2 for us, baby.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
A couple more that I'm really excited about throwing. The 13 Fishing Whippersnapper. I've actually never thrown this. I'm going to be honest with you. I got this because I've always thought this color looked good. The purple that kind of goes down into the chartreuse I think looks really great. I think it'll be really good on the river. And yeah, I bought this just because it looks cool. And then y'all know I've been using Googan products since I started fishing. The Googan Squad Scout is like a $6.99 jerkbait. It has great action. And this Ghost Gill color, the translucent brown with the chartreuse tail, this color pattern in all of their hard baits just gets bit no matter where I'm fishing, in ponds, river, lake. I've actually had to order 2 or 3 of these because I've lost a few, and I just know that this is a consistent color for me. So I'm not someone who really has dialed in when to throw what colors. So talk a little bit about how you choose, besides matching the hatch, we all know, how you decide which colors you're gonna throw in which situations.
3 things. Number 1, where I'm fishing at. Okay. It's gonna be the river, the lake, reservoir, etc. Number 2, watercolor. If it's muddy, mercury, the visibility I have in the water.
Okay.
And number 3, the weather.
Okay.
It's definitely going to be, those are the main 3. Before I go fishing, say for instance, we're going to go tomorrow. I already know what the weather's going to look like. Okay, we got sunny. I'm assuming that the water clarity is going to be clear because it's the river. The water's always moving in and out. So very rarely does the river ever get muddy unless we get a lot of rain or something. So with that being said, that's how I'm going to choose my colors, and I'm going to go more natural. In a muddy situation where the water's, you know, a lot dirtier, I'm going to throw something that's got more of a standout color to it, even though it doesn't look as natural with the chartreuse, just as you would with a crankbait.
Right.
Okay. This color gets bit religiously on muddy water.
Okay.
Sometimes even in clear water. It's crazy, but it's a good water, a good color. Another one, this was a stunner. It's got the chartreuse in it. It's obviously, again, rule of thumb, you know, you got muddy water, throw something with chartreuse, orange, something in it so they can see it along with hearing it. Natural colors, your shad colors, all your natural colors during the sunlight, and then when you got good clear water, you can see. Okay. But then sun and cloud cover plays a little different role too. So the sun and cloud cover plays a difference too. So the sun, when it's sunny outside, I'm gonna throw something that's got a little flash to it. And then when it's cloudy outside, I'm gonna throw the duller colors. Let's see, so here's the Mega Bass. This is the GP blue, and it's a dull color, which then...
It's more of like a matte finish.
Right, it's like a matte finish color. Here's a Mega Bass. This is a GP2, which has got the chartreuse bottom on it, but same bait, just different bottom. But this is the matte color. This is the gloss, the flashy color. Sunny days, cloudy days. So it's pretty simple. I keep my jerkbait in 4 categories just to keep it simple.
Okay.
I do my flashy colors, natural. I do my matte colors, natural, and then I have my chartreuse wild colors. For 2 reasons: muddy water, or also even in clear water. If I throw a jerkbait and it's a natural color and I'm getting bit, and I'll get bit and then I'll throw and won't get bit for another 50 yards or so, and I'll catch another one. Okay, well, they're biting jerkbait in the area. I could tie on a different color, like this guy with the chartreuse bottom. Okay. And I can throw in one spot and get four or 5 bites out of it. Yeah. Just because it's different. Okay. Don't let the chartreuse scare you and think that they'll run from it. No, right. It's different. They'll hit it. I've sat in spots on the river And threw that exact same jerkbait and caught 13, 14 in one spot and never moved the trolling motor.
So,
and I cast in a 10-foot area. This same cast.
One thing I've been wanting to try is the 6 Cents Provoke has one that's called Cherry Limeade. It's just red with a chartreuse top. I mean, it looks like a cherry limeade. I didn't buy it, so I don't have it for this video, but I'm going to buy it just because it looks wild. It's just something different, right?
Yeah,
There's no fish in our waters that look like this, but sometimes they'll just bite it because it's different.
Yeah, it's a reaction bait. You got to keep in mind that jerkbaits are a reaction bait.
Okay.
They are reacting off the sound, the movement, the spontaneous movement that the jerkbait gives off, and they're feeding on bait fish right now.
They're feeding up so that when they move into the winter months when it's cold, they're less active.
Exactly.
They're still feeding, just not as aggressively as they are now.
Exactly. Yep. This time of the year is the best time to throw jerkbaits. You're going to get bit the most is now and then the post spawn.
Okay.
So in February, at wherever you are located, wherever your lakes are located, north, west, east, whatever, whenever your post spawn happens, I would throw jerkbait. Look at them. I mean, because they're doing the same thing. They're feeding. Now they're feeding before they move down, or they're feeding before they isolate and lock in if they're staying shallow. Post spawn, they're doing the same thing. They're feeding before they move into bed, and then you got another wave of fish coming in to feed before they go to bed. And it's just a non-revolving cycle all the way to spawn through to spawn.
All right, let's talk about where we're fishing these jerkbaits on the river and on the lake. So let's start with the river because that's where we're going to be fishing tomorrow. Tell us like what we're looking for, where we're going to be throwing them, and the technique in which we're going to use to catch those fish tomorrow.
Okay, so the river we're gonna is a tide river. It's tide driven. Okay, current's always coming in, coming out. I like to look for a mouth of a creek, rice field, anywhere where water's coming through, coming out of a small pocket of water, whether it's a little indention, break, anything, and going out to the main lake or main channel. What does bass do in the river is they'll get up into the mouth of these and they'll sit in the main river. They'll sit suspended, or they'll hug the bank, because in our river it comes out of the creek channel and then it drops down. Well, in the mouth of those, there's always grass there. Remember when we did our fishing tournament and we were in the mouth of that river? You were throwing, I was throwing a jerkbait, we was both throwing. You say, "Oh, I got one," and you reeled in, it was grass.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I was throwing the same spot and I caught two. Okay, so
that happens to me a lot, by the way.
So what happens is all that water's coming out, rushing out, and those bait fish are coming out because the water's dropping down. They either push all the way in the back, or they're either coming out. So those bass will sit there in the front, and they'll wait on them to come out and ambush those bait fish.
That makes sense.
So what I like to do is, as the tide comes out, I'll throw up into the mouth of those creeks, and I'll fish it out, work it out, and the fish ambush it. Or either I'll throw along the edge. If you got the mouth coming in, we're sitting in the river channel, I'll throw along the edge of it and work it down the river channel, down that bank to the mouth of the creek.
Right. So you guys are seeing that like the jerkbait is a perfect representation of the bait fish leaving that creek, trying to get out of the creek before the water leaves.
Correct.
So the bass are already looking for bait fish, and your jerkbait comes through there, they hit it.
Correct. If you go into these rice fields, for everyone that's around here that's trying to learn, we got a lot of guys around here that knows already, but if you're trying to learn and get your feet wet, go to these rice fields, and as the tide falls just before the low tide, you don't have to have, because GPS and live scope and all that doesn't work for this on occasions. You don't need all that to catch fish.
Right.
Okay, I didn't have it, and I still caught fish. All you do is be observant of your river. So when the tide falls out and your water's down and you can see the grass in the rice fields, and you see where it's still water coming out after the grass has showed itself, that one spot's deeper. That's your channel going into the rice field.
Right.
Remember that. Know where that's at. Mark something, do some kind of land marking, or even if you got some way you can mark it on your units, just mark it. And then go back to that spot. So as the water flows out and it's falling out, you want to find that same spot, throw right up into the front of it. Throw up about 10, 15 feet up into that creek, in the middle of it, and start working your bait on the way out.
Okay.
9 times out of 10 on our river, you'll catch one.
Right.
Now, don't let the grass scare you. There's a lot of times You'll throw it in there and you'll start working it, and then immediately you'll get grass on your line.
It freaks me out.
Just like it happened. Don't think, oh, there's a lot of grass and I can't throw a jerkbait. That's not true. There's a couple tricks that I do for that. So, yes, I'm gonna reel in a lot, and I'm gonna have a grass on my jerkbait a lot. Okay,
right.
It is what it is. But the way to catch those fish is, you throw it in there. As soon as that jerkbait hits the water, do not start reeling, okay, and getting that bait down, because you're gonna get in the grass.
Right.
As soon as it hits the water, I jerk it, make it react. Jerk it again, make it react, okay? This jerkbait's gonna suspend, all right? Doesn't matter if it's 6 foot, if it's 4 foot, if it's 3 foot, or 1 foot, it's gonna suspend. The only way it's gonna go down is one of two ways. You keep jerking it, or you reel it and it goes down.
Yeah.
Right? So as soon as it hits the water, I'm jerking it, and I'm making it sit.
Okay.
All right, so I'm fishing this bait from 1 foot of water all the way until A, I either get bit, B, I get hung up in grass, or C, I get to the depth it needs to be in.
Okay.
All right, so if those fish are sitting in that grass in 4 foot of water, down in that grass, waiting on bait fish to go across the top to get out of that creek to go in the river, they attack it, they ambush it, right?
Right.
That's what this jerkbait does. That's why when you reeled in your line, you had grass on yours. I'm throwing it in the same spot, and I caught 2 fish because I wasn't reeling my bait down.
Yeah.
I was jerking it immediately, getting that movement. Number 2, I jerk it, and if I felt like that bait's going down or getting close to, rip up on it. You don't have to have your tip down 24/7 when you're working a jerkbait. You can pop it up, it'll jump it up and give it a different reaction.
Yeah.
And then you can continue to work that bait through that grass.
Okay.
So when you pop it up, it's just like popping up a chatterbait out of grass or a rattle trap or anything else. It's the same thing. You popping a jerkbait up, it still darts up, and then you're back up here suspended. You're back above it, and then you can work it a couple more jerks, and then pop it back up again.
Sweet.
And them fish will come out and they'll hit it.
Awesome. See, that's something that I didn't know.
Also, your line. So I always throw. So during this time frame of the fall transition, and they're very active, I'm gonna throw 14-pound test line on mine. And we can get into that later on what we use. But the reason why I'm saying that now is because 14-pound will help keep that bait up and not all the way down.
Okay.
So even if I'm in 9 foot of water and I'm using my active target and I'm targeting fish, I'm watching my bait. This same mega bass that dives 6 feet, I can't get it down 6 feet unless I hold my rod in the water and crank it down, because I got 14-pound test on it and it's staying around 4 to 3.5 feet.
Right.
And it's staying in that column. So I'll fish that 6 foot diving crankbait in 5 foot, sometimes 4.5 feet and down.
Okay.
Just to target those fish. Because it's just all how you manipulate your rod tips and the line you use.
And we'll show you guys some of that in action tomorrow when we're on the water. We'll try to find these scenarios and say, hey, let's illustrate, pulling it out of the grass and things like that. All right, now we're gonna go over the gear that we're gonna use to throw these jerkbaits. We're gonna talk about our rod and reel combos, then we're gonna talk about line, and then that'll pretty much be everything. We're gonna start with Rob and let him show you his 2 jerkbait setups, and then I'll show you mine.
All right, yeah, so the first setup I normally throw would be this guy here, the Denali. It's the lithium Denali jerkbait rod. It's a 6/8 medium fast tip. So what I really like about this rod is the butt end of the handle. It's short, it's compact, it's not long like some of your other rods are. So when you're moving and you're jerking that rod, the handle doesn't get caught, doesn't hit your forearm, doesn't hit your stomach. It doesn't get in the way, and it allows you to have that motion. So this is a very, very good rod. I love it. Probably one of my favorites is the Denali. Phenomenal rod, hands down. 6/8 medium fast tip. Super, super sensitive. You feel every little hit, every little strike. Yeah, it's hard to miss with them. It's hard to miss with this rod. Great rod.
Hey, let's take just a second and let you guys know that it's also hunting season in South Carolina, and there's some people running dogs, which is a great tradition here in South Carolina, but they're running dogs through the woods chasing deer, like right behind us. So if you guys hear the dogs barking, I'm pretty sure our voices should cut through it, but just letting you guys know that it is hunting season. There's no dogs being abused. They're just chasing deer.
This is another rod I got. I actually just picked this rod up yesterday.
Where'd you get that rod from?
What's that place called? Oh yeah, Phantom Outdoors. No, I got this rod yesterday. It is also a jerkbait rod, but This rod, so the difference between this one and the Denali is, this is labeled a jerkbait rod, but it's also a topwater rod, a crankbait rod, and so on and so forth, okay? The Denali rod is strictly a jerkbait rod. Also, I want to show you a difference. Well, let me show you something. See the difference in the handle butts? So I got the reels pretty much side by side and see the difference there. Believe it or not, that makes a big difference against, as far as when you're jerking this rod and getting this action going, and this is not getting in your way, hitting anything. So that's why I love the Denali rod. I'm gonna try this one out. Pretty excited about it. It does have a good feel to it. It's a 610. Not too crazy about it, but being a 610, but I'm gonna give it a shot. And also what I'm thinking about is this could be a really good rod for throwing those +1s and +2s for deeper.
Yeah. To
get an extra little backbone on it, but also still have that action to get that movement in that jerkbait.
Real quick, talk about the reels,
So,
the gear ratio, and why that's important.
Okay, so the reel is a Daiwa TWS 7:3 gear ratio, and I just like 7:3, 7:1s is because, so a lot of time, especially here, when you're fishing a jerkbait, prime example on the rivers, those fish are shallow, they're by deep water, they got their backs against deep water, the bait's coming out shallow, so when they hit, fish automatically do what when they hit?
Run.
They run, and they run down, and they run towards the boat, right? So if you're sitting in deep water throwing up towards shallow or a bank, and you're working a jerkbait back to you, they're gonna hit it, they're gonna run down and go to deep water, which is coming to you. I like the 7:3, 7:1 fast gear ratio to get that speed up, to catch up to them, because a lot of times they'll have slack in the line, they'll shake the hook, no matter treble hooks or not, they'll come off.
Right.
So high gear ratio keeps up with the fish, and for me it's a better chance to keep that tension on and get them in the boat.
Okay. All right, for me, my first rod I want to talk about is the Guggen Squad Gold Series Twitch rod. I got all of Guggen's Gold Series rods, and I love the way that they label their rods, because it lets people like me who are learning to get into technique specific rods, it just takes the guesswork out. It makes it a little bit easier and kind of introduces you to it. Now the Twitch is a 6'9", medium moderate, and so it's good for jerkbaits, it's good for topwater like your pop-ars and things like that. It's not as fast of a tip as you would really like. I'll talk about that in my next rod, but this is kind of what got me into getting technique specific rods, and so I'm still using this as a jerkbait rod. I'm using a Shimano SLX XT, and this is a 150 HG. That stands for higher gear, so this is the 7:2 gear ratio reel. I've had it for about a year, and I've literally thrown everything on it, so that's what is on this rod. Let me show you my new setup though that I got just specifically to make this video with. I'm really happy about. So I'm not brand loyal yet when it comes to rods. I'm trying a little bit of everything until I get there. So this is an Abu Garcia Veritas PLX rod. It's actually a 6'6", so it's the shortest rod that I own. It's a medium, but it's a fast tip, and so this has a really short handle. Rob recommended this is the best jerkbait rod that we had in the shop, and so I picked it up, and I'm pairing that with my brand new Shimano Curado. This is the MGL 150, and that means that you should be able to throw lighter baits farther. I know people recommend the 70 for jerkbaits. We didn't have a 70, so this is a 150. It's a little off, but I will use this reel for more things, and I've already dropped it and got scratches on it, but hey, I bought it to use it.
It's broken in now.
It's broken in, baby. So this is the combo that I'll be using the most tomorrow, but I'll have a different jerkbait tied on both of my setups.
Nice.
Oh, the gear ratio on this guy is 7:4. That's a little faster than everyone recommends, but I'm working with what I got.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would do just fine with that.
All right, we're running out of daylight, so real quick, we're going to talk about the line that we'll have spooled up on our reels. I'll show you what I'm using, but I'm going to let Rob go first and talk about his line choice for using jerkbaits.
So my line choice, Sunline.
Okay.
Sunline, full fluorocarbon, 100%. Different pounds for different reasons, obviously, like I talked about. This time of year, 14 pounds.
Okay.
Don't matter. Don't matter if I'm throwing a 110 +1, 110, stunner, don't matter, 14 pounds. The fish don't have problems seeing it, or they don't see it. It doesn't affect them. I catch fish on it all the time. You get great reaction out of the bait. The bait does what it needs to do, and I have confidence in bringing the fish to the boat. I don't have to worry about finessing them and all that stuff. Especially this time of year through the winter, going into the winter, it's prime time. You can catch some 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 pound bass on some jerkbait. So I like to have that backbone of line there. It does the job. It gives the action. It doesn't bother the fish, and also it helps me keep that bait suspended.
Okay.
If I go deeper, 14 pound, I'll still keep on there. I will drop down sometimes to a 12 pound, but I won't go less than a 12 pound. Don't really need to, especially for around here. But those are my 2 lines. So Sunline, full fluorocarbon, 12 to 14 pounds.
So if you guys have been following my fishing journey, I don't really use fluorocarbon at all. I tried it one time and had a weird experience, so I kind of shied away from it. But you guys know I'm learning to fish these techniques more specifically because I want to be able to compete. So I have to, bite the bullet, learn how to use fluorocarbon. So I picked up 2 packs of Seagar 12 pound. This is the red label. Once I get a little bit more comfortable, I'll probably bump up to the InvisX stuff that we also have. It's a little more expensive, but I'll be throwing 12 pound red label Seagar. That's okay?
Yeah, that's great. As long as you go fluorocarbon.
Yeah, you said 12 to 14. I went with 12, just kind of to be in the middle.
12 is great.
All right.
That'll do just fine.
All right, so if you guys have any questions from this video, definitely leave them in the comments below or shoot me or Rob a DM. Rob actually has a YouTube channel that he's getting off the ground. It'll be linked down in the description below, and you guys are gonna see Rob and I collaborating on so much more moving forward. We hope that you learned something from this video, and I can't wait until the next episode goes up so that you guys can see us putting all of this stuff into practice. And remember, a lot of the stuff that we talked about today is the low country of South Carolina specific, but if you have questions about your area and we don't know, maybe we can help you find the answer. My channel is also nearing 1,000 subscribers, so if you guys, it would mean a lot to me. If you haven't already, hit subscribe because we're almost there, guys, and it's gonna be so cool when we finally hit 1K.
I'm excited for you, man. I hope you get it.
We got to figure out a 1K like celebration video. We're definitely going to do some kind of giveaway.
Yeah, we could definitely do a giveaway.
Cool.
But yeah, hook a boy up, like, subscribe, hit thumbs up, leave comments. Sorry if we missed anything out. This is felt like a quick video for just a touch base and just break the ice on the jerkbait season. It's right here. It's time to get out, time to clean those rods off and get into the water. So just for your beginners, I hope it gave you some advice and gave you some confidence, and just go wet a line.
All right, guys, we're going to see you on next part 2 of the jerkbait video of us actually catching fish. Peace.